Hey guys, today's story is about a player that pretends to be a psychic and gets upset when he's caught that he's not. This post contains spoilers for the Lost Mine of Phandelver. I got into the hobby a few years ago. No in real life friends, so I used Roll20 and LFG groups to find a few games. I had a few rough experiences as a player that should be posted here, and ultimately decided to DM the 5e starter set for a group of randos myself. I posted a LFG with the only requirements that the players have neither read nor played through the starter set. The game starts off well enough. Everyone gets along. No one has played the starter set. Players are all new to the game, and character creation goes well. The group consisted of me, the DM, a 2-pack of friends who knew each other in real life, Adam and Barry, a rogue and druid respectively, Deb, the awkward Canadian female who was playing a monk, and the cheater Chris, who rolls a variant human paladin with polar master feat at level 1. Early on it's clear Chris is trying to break the game. Instead of following the trail of goblin tracks to rescue their NPC employer, he pushes for them to go to town first. He doesn't take no for an answer, so the party continues to town to deliver the cart of goods. The town is beset by brigands, and NPCs express concern since their employer was supposed to arrive in town a day ahead of the party. I'm trying to push them back on track without railroading them, but Chris wants to fight brigands instead. Encounter with bad guys goes as expected for the level 1 party. All but Chris get dropped by multi-attacks. I had a plan that they get captured should a TPK occur, but Chris uses Polearm Master plus Bless to one-shot the remaining baddies. The group recovers and decide they should go and try to find their employer. The campaign proceeds, but I started to notice that Chris seems to know exactly what checks to make to avoid all the traps. He knows a shortcut to the boss, etc. He plays it off like they're lucky guesses, but his lucky guesses begin to border on clairvoyance. A couple of weeks pass, and Adam and Barry complain to me that the game feels like the Chris show. I talk to Chris and ask that he be conscious of how he's playing to allow others to do their thing sometimes. He apologizes to the group in the next session, and passively-aggressively states how he'll play his character less optimally so other players can have their fun. Everyone else at the table starts having a lot of fun, except whenever the players are about to execute a plan that may trigger an ambush, or a trap, or be slightly less than a perfect playthrough. Chris would be like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" It's at this point that Chris's clairvoyance gets passed on to Deb, and also at this point where it's revealed that Chris and Deb are now an item, both in and out of game. At one point, Deb asks to look for secret doors, and to avoid metagaming after failed checks, I roll behind the screen. I tell her that while her search is thorough, it's just a normal wall. Now, this spot happens to be exactly where the leader of the hideout secret escape route leads. Chris decides to leave a bear trap and some ball bearings there anyway. I start to suspect that Chris has read, or is reading, the published module to get ahead. To confirm my suspicions, I decide to tweak encounters. The game becomes a lot of work to prep, but it's fun to watch Chris get increasingly frustrated as he expends resources to avoid things that aren't there, and gets surprised by new stuff. This gets us to an encounter with a banshee. In the published module, the encounter is purely RP to avoid a TPK at level 3 with her whale. They have to flatter her to convince her to share information that they need. I tweaked it so they had to wait for the banshee to show up with a trap in the form of a jewelry case, which is locked. Chris seems confused by the setup, and keeps saying that she should be here though. Adam the rogue decides the temptation is too great, and tries to pick the lock in the case. He succeeds, and they cheer. He opens it to reveal that it was a music box with the effect of her whale inside. But only Adam can hear it. Adam fails, and drops to 0. She shows up pissed. They're extremely unlikely to get the info they need from her now. Adam is dying, so we roll initiative to follow a turn order during this mostly RP encounter. I explain to the party that she doesn't seem to want to fight, and seems embarrassed of her own appearance. I suggest that someone should stabilize Adam, while the others can attempt to convince her to get the information. Chris is pissed, and keeps saying, "Well, this isn't how it goes," over and over. I know for now that he's reading the module. His turn, I remind him that Adam needs healing, and they're still there to convince her to give them info. Instead, he finally quits, trying to play everything optimally, and just tries to smite her. Everyone else playing groans at his decision. With his polearm master, smite, and some inspiration, he comes close to one-shotting the Banshee at level 3. The Banshee wails for real this time, and no one saves. I have them all roll death saves, which they all make, so they're all just unconscious, as a party in the Banshee's den. The Banshee retreated in shame at her own wretched existence. Chris is livid. He goes off about how overpowered Banshees are, and how that's why the writers of the module made it so that she wouldn't use her wail. I said, "Well, how would you even know that without cheating?" He disconnects right there, sends me a message over Discord admitting that he had read the adventure module, but that the game just isn't for him, and resigns. I wish I could say that that is where it ended. But 2 weeks later, Deb begged me to let him come back to apologize and keep playing. We were also having trouble finding a fourth player, and Adam and Barry just wanted to keep the game going, so the saga continued. Well, guys, I have to say, the DM should definitely not have ever let this guy back, whether or not they were having issues finding a fourth player. Well, guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. Have a good one.